Okay, so when you think AI hotspot, where does your mind go? Silicon Valley, right? Maybe Shenzhen? Well, what if I told you that one of the most interesting stories in AI today is happening somewhere you'd probably never guess? North Africa. Yep, today we're diving into Algeria's seriously ambitious plan to become a major AI player. 7%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the number Algeria is targeting for AI's slice of its entire national GDP. And get this, they want to hit it by 2027. I mean, that's not just ambitious, that's a massive, bold statement. It's a signal that they're making a huge national pivot towards tech. So you gotta ask, right? Is this just a pie-in-the-sky number? Something that sounds good on paper? Or is there a real, thought-out plan to actually make this happen? Well, let's dig in and see what's really going on. Okay, to really get what Algeria's doing, you have to understand this one core idea they're running with: sovereign innovation. Look, this isn't about just importing a bunch of tech from somewhere else. No way. Think of it like building a house. They're not buying a prefab home. They are laying the foundation, brick by brick, to build their very own AI powerhouse from the ground up. It's all about self-reliance. And this term, sovereign AI, it sounds kind of technical, but trust me, it's way more than that. It's a massive geopolitical statement. What it really means is building AI that lives and breathes on your own turf, using your own computers inside your own borders. Why? It's all about protecting the crown jewels. We're talking critical data for things like energy, defense, you name it. In a world that's getting more and more divided, this is basically a declaration of digital independence. So how are they going to pull this off? Well, the government's master plan is actually pretty straightforward. It's built on three main pillars. First up, you've got the state's strategy. Think things like special startup labels that give you awesome tax breaks and basically roll out the red carpet. Second, they're building the actual hardware, the sovereign infrastructure that AI needs to run. And third, they're pumping new capital into the system, backing a lot of these new ventures with state funds. And if you want proof that they're serious, you just have to follow the money. Check this out. The state-owned telecom company, Algeria Telecom, just launched a brand new investment fund just for AI. The number they're throwing around is 1.5 billion Algerian dinar. That's a huge number. So you're probably wondering, what's that in dollars? Well, it comes out to about 11 million US dollars. And yeah, I know, that might not sound like a Silicon Valley mega fund, but here's the thing. It's not about the size, it's about the focus. This money is laser targeted at AI, robotics, and cybersecurity. That tells you they're not just throwing cash around, they're making a very strategic bet on the future. Look, you can talk about sovereign AI all day, but it's just talk if you don't have the hardware to back it up. And Algeria gets this. That's why they're building their very first dedicated AI data center in Iran. And they're packing it with the good stuff. High-performance GPUs, the super-powered chips that are basically the engine for all modern AI. This is a total game changer because it means local startups can finally build and train their own powerful models right at home. Okay, so we've got the plan, we've got the money, and we've got the hardware on the way. But a plan is nothing without the people and companies to execute it. So who's actually on the front lines? Let's meet the heavyweights, the big players anchoring this whole ecosystem. If there's one startup from Algeria you might have heard of, it's probably Yassir. But this quote here, it absolutely nails what they're really all about. See, on the surface, it looks like a super app, for rides, food delivery, payments, but that's just the disguise. Underneath the hood, Yassir is a full-blown AI company. They've cleverly wrapped all this complex machine learning for logistics and credit scoring into services people use every day. And by doing that, they've onboarded 8 million users and built an incredible data set that makes their AI even smarter. It's brilliant. So yeah, Yassir is the unicorn, the big success story, with over 193 million in the bank. But what's really exciting is who's following in their footsteps. You've got companies like LabLabby playing in the deep tech telecom space, and fintech, which is doing some mind-bending work with causal AI. I mean, these are not your average app startups. These guys are tackling incredibly complex, global-scale problems right from Algeria. And this really highlights something cool that experts are calling Algeria's two-speed AI ecosystem. Think of it like this. On one track, you have AI for the masses. That's Yassir, the stuff you see and use every day, serving millions of people. But then there's this whole other track, AI for critical industry. This is the quieter, more behind-the-scenes stuff from companies like Kabas, who are building super secure AI for the really important sectors, like energy and defense. And honestly, that second group, that deep tech layer, is where things start to get really interesting. This is where we're seeing this whole new generation of Algerian startups that are super technical and, importantly, built to export their ideas to the rest of the world. Let's take fintech. They're not messing around with basic AI that just spots patterns. The kind of AI that tells you people buy more ice cream when it's sunny. Duh. They're using something way more advanced called causal AI. It doesn't just see the what, it understands the why. And for their big clients like Danone and NVIDIA, figuring out why a supply chain might break down is a million times more valuable. This is seriously next-level stuff. And then you have Label B, which is just a perfect example of how this ecosystem can go global. These guys looked at the telecom industry and saw this huge worldwide problem, a massive skills gap. So what they do? They built an AI platform to fix it. And it's working. They've landed huge clients like Deutsche Telekom. They've got international investors. It just proves that an Algerian startup can build something that the whole world wants. And this is where it all ties back together, bringing us right back to that big idea of sovereign AI. Remember the deep tech company, Kabas? Well, they are building secure large language models. Think of it as having your own private, super secure ChatGPT that only your company can use. They're deploying this for massive clients like Sonatrach, the state oil and gas company. The data, the models, nothing ever leaves their servers. So this isn't just about being more efficient. For Algeria's most vital industry, this is literally a matter of national security. Okay, so the potential here is obviously huge. You can feel the momentum. But let's be real, no journey like this is a straight line. To really get the full picture, we have to talk about the challenges, the roadblocks that could slow things down. And this chart, it basically tells the whole story in one picture. It's the classic push and pull. On one hand, you've got the challenges. Algeria's global AI readiness rank is 120th, which points to some old-school bureaucracy slowing things down. But on the other hand, look at this strength. They have an absolute fire hose of talent, with 30,000 new engineers graduating every single year. Seriously. So the entire future of Algeria's AI dream really comes down to one thing. Which of these forces will win out? So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? Algeria isn't just copying Silicon Valley. They're building something different, something that works for them. A state-guided, security-first, sovereign approach to AI. And that leaves us with a really big question to chew on. Could this very specific Algerian model, this idea of sovereign innovation, actually become the playbook for the rest of Africa, and maybe even other developing nations as they build their own tech futures? All right, before we wrap up, just a quick heads up. The information we've shared today comes from a mix of our own research and some AI-powered tools. As always, we definitely encourage you to dig in and verify everything for yourselves. Thanks so much for tuning in.